Sometimes we get in trouble and we think ain't no way out, but still bless him. Because he's still worthy of all of our praise. He's worthy, saints. I'm telling you, what would you, have you ever just stopped and thought about what would you do without the Lord? Have it ever come across, what in the world would you do without the Lord? Today we're on lesson 10. I guess we're closing out this book. We're in the 8th chapter of Matthew, and we're dealing with Jesus heals 2 demoniacs. Now, this whole unit, this is the 3rd unit of this particular book. This whole unit has dealt with healing. We had the centurion's servant, healing. So last week we dealt with that centurion's servant, and that was recorded by Luke, but the same thing is recorded in Matthew. So what they did now, they dropped right down a few more verses and went into some more things that were happening, and the demoniacs happened to be the focus of today. Now, we need to understand that when we read the scriptures, you need to read all of it. You don't need to read some, because you only get a partial picture. And then you need to read all of the Gospels also, because some of the Gospels have the exact same incidents written in there, so you need all the details, because every one of them didn't give all the details that another one would give. It's like myself and anybody could see the same thing, but we will tell it in a different way. I will give some details that maybe they left off, and vice versa. So this is what happened. So we're in Matthew today, and Jesus did a lot between last Sunday's lesson and this lesson. If we read it, we found out that he did a lot. He healed the sick. He healed the demon-possessed. He dealt with people. And then he healed Peter's mother-in-law. All of that was just coming up to this lesson. And then he dealt with people that wasn't really ready to follow him. Did y'all read that part up above? They weren't really ready to follow him, because he talked to one man and he said, well, can I go bury somebody? He said, let the dead bury the dead. Lord have mercy. So it was a lot going on in between these two lessons. But now today we get into it, and we find out that Jesus has, after all of this has gone on, he has decided that he's going to go to the other side of the Sea of Galilee. So what he does, he gets in the ship, and they're getting ready to sail to Galilee. Now, if you've done any historical work, you know that the Sea of Galilee is known for sudden, violent storms, just rising up almost like you would say out of nowhere. The wind comes down, and it picks up speed, and he makes it difficult and unsafe to navigate in those waters. And so, a great storm arose while they were trying to sail to the other side. Great big storm. The ship was covered. Y'all need to read this. This is some interesting stuff. Can you imagine? I realize I have a vivid imagination, but some of you have it too. So you can imagine on this ship, and in that day and time, they weren't as sophisticated with the ships as we are today. And can't you just see the waves rising up and coming in the ship with the people and everything? Would you be afraid? Yeah. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. So, it was making a storm. The ship was covered with the wave, but Jesus was sleeping. Jesus was taking a nap. He'd been dealing with all these people, and the human part of him got tired just like we do. Yes, we do. And so he was asleep. And the disciples were terrified. They woke up Jesus with frantic pleas for help. Lord, save us. We perish. We're going to drown. Help. remember one time we was in prayer. It must have been on a Tuesday night when we was having prayer at night. And I just sat at the altar and just cried and called help. That's a prayer. You know, help is a prayer. I just sat there and cried and called for help. Lord, have mercy, Jesus. And so they were really afraid. But one thing we can credit them with, now they're going to get a rebuke for this, but one thing we can credit them for, they knew what source to go to. Now we need to understand today, we need to go to the right source. Because what we're doing, we're going to everybody that can't help. We running around to people that can't help us. We're telling our friends and our loved ones they can't help us. They got stuff going on too. The government not going to help you. Hello? So they did have the foresight to go to the one that was helpful. There's so many times Jesus is our last resort. Why? Y'all going to help me out today. Why is Jesus our last resort? When something come up, why do we go to him last? And it didn't work then, and it won't work now. He should be the last resort. So after rebuking the disciples for their puny faith, I wrote puny. Y'all know what puny is. Weak, lackluster. Ain't got no strength about it at all. He rebuked them for them. He said, where is your faith? What is wrong with you? Why are you in such an uproar and screaming and hollering? Then he rebuked the wind and the sea. And there was a great calm. Because, Lord have mercy, when God speaks, Lord Jesus, y'all need to get this. When God speaks, that's it. That's it. And when there was the sea became completely calm. The wind was completely calm. No more waves, no more dashing about, because who spoke? Jesus spoke. Now, we got to look at this in a different manner. Jesus created the winds and the waves and had authority over them. The last thing I wrote, one of the last things, is Jesus has authority over everything. Everything. Your stuff, my stuff, everybody's stuff. He got authority over it. And the bishop keeps coming back to me, and I can hear him saying, he said, I am what I said I am. Because sometimes the enemy will try to trick you. He ain't never tried to trick you? Well, get ready, because he will. He will try to trick you into doubting what God has said. So he made the winds. He made the waves. He had full authority over them. On the other hand, the disciples were afraid. After all they had seen, they saw him do miracle after miracle after miracle, but they were afraid in the storm. That's a lesson for us right there. Because we have seen, if you have been in this church any length of time, you have seen miracles right up in here. Yeah. And then when something happens, we lose it. Yeah. What happened? Y'all talk to me right there. What happened after we saw God do so much stuff? And then revert back to the disciples. After they saw Jesus do so much stuff, why? Yeah, why?
Because humanity has one of the things that we do as humans, when something new happens, our first response is fear.
Absolutely.
Until we come to ourselves. Mm-hmm. We have to come to ourselves. Mm-hmm. You know, when we come to ourselves, then things change. But that first response, first time.
It is. It's fear. And he have gone through the Bible saying, fear not, fear not. I preached that message, fear not. He said, I have not given you that spirit So if you have the spirit of fear, it did not come from God. Oh, Jesus, have mercy, have mercy, have mercy. After all of this, they were still afraid. And then they were amazed, marveled at what was happening here. What kind? Now you'll walk with him, you talk with him, you ate with him, you heard him preach, you saw him do miracles, you saw him do this, that, and the other, raising folk from the dead, opening blind eyes, opening stopped up ears. You saw him do all of this. So why are you amazed? And the question of today is, when we believe God, and he does what you asked him to do, why are you amazed? Why are you shocked when God answers prayer? Oh, wait, Sister Watson. Yes, I did. Why are we shocked when he answers and does what we asked him to do? Because he said he would do it. So why are we shocked? Food for thought. Mm-hmm. Yeah, buddy. And even the winds. What kind of man is this? That even the wind and the sea obey him. They had seen his authority over and over. Every time they saw his authority. So why are they amazed at his intervention? Why are we shocked when God do what we asked him to do? Why? Because we had that, yeah. And she hit it on the head. This humanity of ours, what did Bishop say? The one you feed the most is going to be the strongest. So if you're not up to par on doing what you should be doing, you're going to absolutely go to that humanity side. First thing, on there. And so they finally, after the storm got calmed down and everything, they finally got over to the other side. Into the country of the Gergesenes, and they was met. Soon as they got over and started to get off the ship, they were met by two men possessed by devils, by the devil, which means by the demons that the devil have sent out. And they was possessed. And they was coming out of the tombs. They lived in there, in the burial caves. That's where they lived. Can you imagine living? Y'all think about that. I'm going to give you a lot of stuff to think about, because I'm going to go through here and tell you what condition these people was in. They lived in the burial cave. They were violent, men of force. They had to be put out the city because they were so terrible. They didn't wear clothes. They broke all the chains that they could put on them. Now, can you imagine walking down the street and a naked man come running? Not a stitch of clothes on, hollering and squealing. Y'all let your man run. Would you want to go down that street again? Would you? Oh, Lord, have mercy. And what else did they didn't work? The people were afraid to walk on the street or travel by the road where the tombs were, because they would jump out at any time, screaming and hollering. And they done tore off all their clothes, and then tore off all the chains, and they was out there, possessed. The devil will make you do a lot of stuff. That's when you need to keep him under your feet. Yeah, you need to keep him under your feet, because if you let him loose, he going to do something. And it ain't going to be to your good either. He going to do something. Thank you. And so here we have them. They rose out of the caves. They come out on the street, terrifying people as they go. But you know what? The thing about them is, we're getting ready to see God's power demonstrated over the devil's power. And God is always going to have power over the devil's power. No matter what, he's always going to have that power. Mm-hmm. And so they did everything they could. There was no way that they could escape because they was out there running around and the ship docked and Jesus got off. There was no way they could avoid meeting him. And it's amazing what they said. Did y'all read this? They saw him. And they began to protest against his jurisdiction, against his authority, against who he was. They broke out into a rage. They recognized who he was. Glory. They recognized him. And the verse that I liked all of them, but the verse that I like, and they even confessed who he was. Even in their devil-possessed state, they knew who Jesus was. And they, why have you come to torment us before our time, thou Son of God? They knew him. Hey, glory, they knew him. And you know what? When he step on your case, the devil know he there. And he have to step back because he know who is on the scene. And he never have and never will have any control over Jesus. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Why are you coming to torment us before the time? Now they knew. Catch what they saying. Before the time. Catch that. Because they knew that eventually they were going to have to succumb. Jesus. Before the time. What are you talking about, the time? Because I know that I'm going to be done away. Oh, God. I'm going to be done away with eventually by this very Jesus. Lord have mercy. Before the time. And they were somehow sensing that they was getting ready to be cast out. Yeah, you getting ready to go up out of here. And you know, remember in the incident in the Bible where the man brought his son and said he throw himself in the fire and he do this, that, and the other. And Jesus said to him that he was going to heal him. And then the devil just had one last flip before he could come out. That's just the way the devil do it. He know he got to go. But he going to do one last thing before he go. Yeah, one little flip. I got to do something. I know I'm getting ready to be cast out. Here I go. Oh, God. And then the devil's in them, the demons in them, looked over across the field, a good ways away, the Bible said, and saw a herd of swine. Now, right there, we should have known that these wasn't Jewish people. Because they ain't got no business raising pigs. No. We knew they were Gentiles. And he saw a herd of swine. They saw a herd of swine, and they began to plead with Jesus. I know, in other words, in the vernacular today, I know that I got to go. You see, when the devil attacked God's people, he already knows that he has to leave. That's it. When the enemy come against her, he already know that he has to leave. So he had to do one more thing before he leaves. I got to get in one more before I go, because I know I got to go, because Jesus is on the scene. I never have and never will be able to stand against him. Because he put me under his feet, and then he got all these saints gathered up to put me under their feet. Right? And see, when the enemy think he doing you in for real, God got a way of putting him under your feet. One thing we have to remember, we got to believe it. If you want it, you got to believe it. Stuff happening over and over and over, trial after trial, before one something could finish, something else done cropped up. We have to believe I am who I said I am, and all I asked you to do was believe it. Oh, my. When we gonna get it? Y'all talk to me. When we gonna get it? You know what? I'm looking at you all, and all of us are wrestling with something. Now, if you ain't wrestling, you raise your hand and tell us. I ain't got nothing going on. No, he ain't bothering me. Well, you know what? Y'all ain't gonna like me at all now. Y'all really ain't gonna like. If he ain't bothering you, he already got you. Oh, Sister Watson, are you gonna stop or not? Yeah, if anybody in here he not bothering, then he already got you. They don't need to bother you anymore because he got you. But he bothering me. I'm just going to tell you flat out, he bothering me every day. It's something new, something different, something going on that shouldn't go on every day. And I have to rebuke him every day. You can't let him get by with it because if you let him plant the seed in your mind, it'll keep growing and growing and growing. It will. So they knew they was about to have their doom was about to come. Let us go into the swine. I know you're going to do something. These demons knew that Jesus was going to do something. Because they can never come in his presence and he don't dismiss them. Never. So what does that say about us? If he put his spirit in us, when the enemy come in our presence, we should be able to dismiss him. Don't let him ride. What they used to say back in the day, because if you let him ride, he gonna want to drive. Don't let him ride. No. And so, can we go into the swine? And Jesus said, go. Lord have mercy. And they jumped out of the men and went into the swine, and the pigs didn't even want them. Lord have mercy. You know this is bad when the pigs don't want you. One of the nastiest animals in the world, so to speak, and he don't want you. They went into the swine. The whole herd didn't leave a one. The whole herd of swine ran violently down a steep hill into the sea and perished in the water. They didn't want him. The swine didn't want the devil. When the demons went into the swine, they immediately turned suicidal. And don't you know he'll turn you to suicide too? And he will tell you, ain't no need you going through this. You can just go ahead and die now. I dealt with a whole bunch of young people with suicidal ideations. It's the devil telling them that they should do this. The minute these demons got into the pigs went suicidal, jumped off the cliff into the sea, knowing they couldn't swim. The pigs know they couldn't swim. Suicide. A whole herd. Suicide. They would rather die than house the demon. Oh, Lord Jesus. What is that saying? They would rather die than have the demons dwell in them. Can you imagine a bunch of demonic pigs? Just imagine. What kind of damage could they do? demons. And the pigs didn't want them and say, I'll die first. I will not, how, yes ma'am. Did you have your hand? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. See? Just jump down the 13th step. You probably wouldn't have survived. You know what, sister? You ain't the only person that he done told to jump. We was in a meeting one time. Have I got time to tell you this? Yeah. We was in a meeting one time. Big meeting. Church full of folk. And one of the bishops got up, and y'all know him. One of the bishops got up and said that he had went on a cruise and that he was walked out on the deck and began to look out on it. See, if that had happened to me, you know I wouldn't have told a whole bunch of people I lead. He was the leader of the group, a bishop. He said, I stood and looked over the rail, and he said, and something said jump. Something. I'm telling you, he will bring stuff to your mind. He's going to keep bringing it until Jesus say, come my people. But what you do with what he brings to your mind is going to determine whether you live or die. Yeah, absolutely. But I'm here to tell you, you ain't the only one. People have visions of walking out on the freeway in front of a semi. You ought to just go up on top of this building and jump. No, you ain't Superman, and no, you ain't got no wings. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. The saints are his target. Yes. Mean stuff going on. Ugly stuff going on. Yes. He's more aggressive. And you know what? Bishop tells us all the time, it's not you he's after. It's the God in you that he wants to destroy. And by now, shouldn't he have learned that he can't destroy God? By now, shouldn't he have gotten the picture? But what he's trying to do in this day and time is sap all of the God out of you. So, and then you get to destroy yourself because there's no God in you. Don't let him have it. Don't let him have it. Don't let him have it. And after the pigs ran and jumped in the water, then the herdsmen, the ones that was keeping the pigs, they ran into the city and told all of this that had happened. They had never seen anything like this in their lives. They ran and told everything. An entire herd was gone. Crazed pigs, violent pigs, plunging down into the water because the demons had invaded them. They went home, and the people came out to see Jesus. Now, we're going to talk about this one. Came out to see Jesus. And you know what they asked him? We want you to leave our territory. We want you to get out. I don't want you to stay here in this area any longer. You done killed up 2,000 or whatever, how many pigs. And you need to leave. Yeah. The people valued a herd of pigs more than they valued the healing and the freedom of those two men They thought the pigs were worth more. They valued the pigs more than he did the deliverance of these men that were bound by the demonic forces. First thing, we're not supposed to be feared. We ain't supposed to be scared. The whole lesson is in a nutshell right here. Fear not. Next point in the lesson is Jesus has authority over everything. Jesus is peace. Now, my question for the class, and I'm just about through. I got 15 minutes? Okay. Y'all got questions, comments, pearls of wisdom? Okay. Why would we ever ask Jesus to leave? Come on here, saints of the Most High God. I mean, why would you ever ask Jesus to leave? Now, we don't ask the devil to leave, we just tell him. But why would you, how? Jesus help him. Why would you, what could happen to you that's so terrible that you would ask Jesus to leave? Because when he leaves, ain't no help. No, you ask him to leave and he will grant your request. Yeah, he will. He will grant your request. You will be turned over to a reprobate mind and believe a lie and be damned. You asked him to leave, he'll leave. Oh yeah, he'll leave. But why in the world, how could you fix your brain cells to get it to ask him to leave? That threw me. I said, what? You were asking him to leave? You don't need him? Yeah. Saints, we used to have an old song, I need Jesus every day. In my spirit, so I can pray. So I can walk right, so I can talk right. I need Jesus every day. And I'm not about to go crazy and ask him to leave. There's a lot of stuff I want to leave, but he ain't it. No, he ain't it. Why? People that don't know God don't know how to react to God. When you don't know God and don't give him any of your time and your thought, you will say and do just about anything. Demoniacs was happy to be free. They was glad the devil was gone out of them. But the people were angry. And what were they thinking? All they was thinking about was pork chops and ribs. Selling the pigs and getting money. Eating the bacon. Some of them eating the chitlins, whatever. Pig ears, pig feet. You know they ate everything on the pig. You do know that, don't you? The feet, the ears, the tails. Snout. Oh, my God. Jesus, have mercy, have mercy, have mercy. But one of the big questions in this lesson is, what happened to the disciples? When danger presented itself, what happened to the disciples? Y'all gonna talk? What happened to them? They were terrified. And they actually thought, wait a minute, but they had Jesus on the ship with them. That's why I say always keep him on board. If he want to go to sleep, let him sleep. But always keep him on board. Because if trouble come up, all you got to do is wake up Jesus. Yes, ma'am.
I think they were afraid because they had limited him. They didn't think that God could do anything about the wind or the storm. But even though they taught him to do other things, but their mind had limited him.
you know that's a possibility? Because even though they had seen other miracles, and that's what we do. We limit God. We'll say, well, God can do this and do that and do that, but I don't know if he's going to do. That's us. And what we call that? Humanity. Our humanity will overstep our spirituality if we allow it to. And they just couldn't. They was just destroyed. They thought, sure, we going under now. And then they woke up Jesus and asked him, in other words, don't you even care that we getting ready to go into the sea? Don't you even care we getting ready to drown? Don't you even care that the waves is coming in the ship and it ain't going to be long and we going to be gone? Like the man said, when it hits you wrong, you're gone. Don't you know we gone if you don't do something? And the only time I saw Jesus in the Bible really upset was when he beat the people out the temple. Jesus was the coolest man that ever walked the earth. Because even in this instance, he just got up and looked at them and rebuked them first for puny faith. Puny faith is next door to no faith. Yeah? Oh, he called that faith little. O ye of little faith. And then he just looked at the wind that he made, looked at the sea that he made, and one place in the Bible said, peace, be still. The waves and the wind had to lay down like a baby. And it's only because of who said it. Now, if the disciples had said it, it wouldn't have had the same effect. Because remember when Jesus was up on the mountain, the disciples was down there and they was bringing the people to be healed, and the man said, I brought him to your disciples, and they couldn't do nothing with him. See, it depends on who's saying it. When Jesus speaks, it's done. It's done. They didn't have all they needed because at this time they hadn't got to the upper room yet. They had not gotten to the upper room. They had not been endowed, but over in the book of Acts. And when the day of Pentecost was fully, glory to God, fully come, they was walking around with him and seeing him do stuff, but it wasn't in them yet. He said, I got to go away so I can send something back in you. And it's the thing that's in you that's going to do the work. It's the same today. The thing in you, Lord have mercy. Have mercy, have mercy, have mercy. The thing in you will do the work. If you, can I just put a little footnote there? If you allow it to. Because he gave you choice. He told you, I have set before you. Now you get to choose. You can choose life or you can choose death. I'm giving you full choice. Even Adam had a choice. He could have not been seduced by Eve and left whatever that was they ate alone. Everybody says apple. I ain't see that nowhere in the Bible that it was apple. I didn't see nowhere in the Bible where Jonah met up with a whale. The Bible said a great fish. There's a lot of great fish out there. So I usually say what the Bible says to be on the safe side. You don't want to be going somewhere saying stuff that you cannot be backed up by the scripture. And these demoniacs, they didn't want these demons in them. And the pigs didn't even want the demon. That's a sad state of affair, ain't it? Now you got a bunch of snorting pigs, and they don't even want the devil. And then when they jumped in them, they turned suicidal. Suicidal pigs. Running down the steep hill, jumping in the water, knowing they can't swim, but I got to get away from this devil. Question? Comment? Y'all don't want to talk about this? Y'all don't want to talk about the status of our faith? We got to believe. We don't have any choice but to believe. You made a choice to come over here. You made a choice that you wanted him in your life. Now we have to believe what he said is the truth. I know it's rough. It's rough on me. But I have to trust God. And I tell him that every day. Lord, you see this situation. You see this mess that's going on. Now, I got to believe you. But I need you to do some swift stuff up in here. Y'all ever told God you need a suddenly? I need a suddenly right here. Things is getting rough. I need a suddenly. And we need to believe that he will do it. Because he told one person, be it unto you according to your faith. If you believe it, it's a done deal. So what's wrong with us? We can't believe it. He said it. He promised it. He promised Abraham that came to pass. Stuff was going on against the people of God. And he sent David out there. And Goliath had to fall down and get his big old head cut off. Jehoshaphat, 4 armies was coming against him. God handled that. So why can't he handle your little stuff? Y'all ain't gonna talk to me. How come he can't handle our little incidents? All he asks you to do is believe it. Believe that I am who I said I am, and I will do what I said I would do. Believe it. Don't just talk it, believe it. Remember that song we used to sing when I was on the praise team? He can handle it, and that's a fact. What can he have? This and that. Oh, glory. This and that, he can handle it. 3 or 4 disses and that. He still can handle it. And whatever you find yourself in, he can handle it. And the part I like about it, when he was here physically, is different than he's here with us spiritually. Because now he don't never sleep. Oops! Glory! When he was on earth and in that ship, he went to sleep. Because the humanity demanded that he get some rest. But now that he, gone back to glory, he don't never sleep. Asha. He's always available. Oh, have mercy. I got to sit down. I got to sit down. But I'm telling you, we need to learn and practice faith. Practice it. And you need to tell it out loud sometime. Lord, I believe you. I believe you are what you said you are. And I'm trusting you to bring me out of this. I trust you, Jesus, to bring me out of this. I can't do it, because if I could have, I would have. But since I can't, I'm trusting you. You got to do it. You got to believe him. You got to believe him. You got to believe him. Trust in the Lord with all thy heart. Lean not to your own understanding. Come on. We think our understanding is top notch. It ain't. Whole lot of stuff we don't understand. But he do. And he can handle it, and that's a fact. Y'all ain't got no question because I'm getting ready to sit down. I'm going right over here and sit down. If you ain't got no question about these demons and who can handle them, because he certainly can handle them. Ain't no need of the saints of God having demons running wild in their life. Shut down. I done chased them out before. I was trapped in a room with one, and I told the Lord, "You got to go." And he went. God bless you.